Before we start up with the first session, here is an announcement. You can never afford to stop learning in this competitive world, and listening is the reasons he is not present here. He will be delivering the topic through virtual mode. I request here Yashaswini to brief about him.
Thank you, ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure today to introduce to our esteemed audience a tall leader from our own fraternity, CAK Ullas Kamath ji. CAK Ullas Kamath was the joint managing director of Jyoti Labs Limited, and over the 3 decades of being with Jyoti Labs, he's transformed Jyoti Labs from a single brand family-owned enterprise to a multi-brand FMCG corporate. And to add to his fame, he's been accorded with many awards, which include All India CA Business Achiever Award SME category by the ICAI, also the recipient of CNBC Awa's Best CEO Award in FMCG category. He is an independent director in many entities such as V-Guard Industries Limited Cochin, Snapdeal Limited New Delhi, Wonderla Amusement Parks Kochi and Veranda Learning Solutions Limited. He also serves as the chairman of FICCI Karnataka State Council and member of FICCI Startup Committee New Delhi. In his aim to nurture his mission to empower the family businesses, he is also the program chair at K. Ullas Kamath Center for Family Managed Businesses at Nitte University and also the founder of UK & Co, a boutique management consulting collective which creates value for a lot of family businesses. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, sir, to address our delegates on strategies for enhancing competitiveness of MSMEs. Over to you, sir.
Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Okay. I'm audible now?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Very good morning.
Thank you, Yashaswini, for the wonderful introduction, what you have given. And I take this opportunity to thank SS Naik, my friend, for inviting me for this wonderful program of ICAI. Ballari chapter, Hosapete chapter, and Ballari chapter. I also take this opportunity to congratulate each one of you for having taken this wonderful topic for the day. And I also take this opportunity to wish my friend Sanket Naik, Somsekhar sir, the Director of Industries, Ballari, Akkadas, and Director IEDS, Dr. P.J. of Bangalore, Sri Rajesh P. Ramarao, Manager NSIC, Belgavi, and Dr. M.G. Antaprasad from Jyoti Institute of Technology Foundation of Bangalore, who is also part of DTech. And today, my topic is started used for enhancing competitiveness of MSME is undoubtedly the backbone of any economy, not necessarily only India. Anywhere in the world, the small and medium enterprises do a wonderful job in building the nation. And India is no exception to that, and it's almost probably 60-65% of India's GDP, directly or indirectly, is contributed by GDP, and over 80% of the jobs are created by MSMEs in the country. So undoubtedly, MSME's role in the past, and the present, and the future is going to be extraordinarily important in the light of building a nation. Today, Chartered Accountants Conference talking about MSMEs is the most apt topic in the light of Make in India, Made for the World, Atmanirbhar, Startup India, Stand Up India, Women Empowerment, and Business Fast. We need job creators slogan, and all these things will fall in line in the thinking in which the government of India, government of Karnataka, or any economist talking about, they're talking about the growth of MSMEs to build the next level of job opportunities also. To that extent, I must again congratulate Mrs. Naik for convening the wonderful program in Hosapete. And due to my personal commitments, I was not able to come, but I'm sure in due course I'll always make a point to visit your chapter and talk more about the topic in the probably coming months. MSME is very close to my heart. For the reason that after qualifying as a chartered accountant, after doing some practice for 3-4 years, I opted for the corporate field, but I joined a small industry called Ballari Labs, and from there my journey started with MSME, and from there from 10 crore turnover to 2,000 crore turnover, I've seen how easy or how difficult to build an enterprise like Ballari Labs. It was a fantastic journey what I had for 31 years with Ballari Labs. From one brand of Pujala from southern region, we have taken that to all India, and one brand, we are confident brand, and okay. I must confess that we need to be very, very agile, we need to be very, very active, and we need to be seeing what needs to be done, how to be done. That approach is a must, and that is the one which will take you to the next level. Now, the strategies for enhancing competitiveness of our MSMEs, what it was in 70s or 80s or 90s or early 2000s, and now it's all different. So every time when we talk about the strategy, when we talk about enhancement of competitiveness, we need to be true to the present scenario in which we are. Chartered accountants understanding the business is much simpler than anybody else understanding the business as an insider or also as an outsider. My take on that is, as chartered accountants, our job is not just to audit or to file the returns and get the assessment order done and help for compliance. Chartered accountant's job is to see the health of an organization, whether it is small or micro or medium or large, and we need to be with them, the industry, like a general physician. We may not be specialists in business, but we'll be able to make out what is that we can advise them from time to time before the event happens and not after the event happens. Where I'm coming from is that today's MSMEs, most of them are struggling for capital, most of them are struggling with the new technology, most of them are struggling to get good talent on board. Most of the people do not believe in great HR practices. Most of the MSMEs don't know the difference between the sales and the marketing. They don't understand the marketing tools, what is available today. They don't understand the software, what is required to develop the tools for the sales and marketing. Very rarely they use the data, and when they use the data, they are always look forward and they don't look backward to do the analysis. So analytics part of the data, what they have for their company, or for the industry, or for the category, or for the region, or for the state, or for the zone, or for the country, or for the world is very, very minimal. Most of the MSMEs start with the problem, live with the problem, end with the problem, and they blame everyone. Nothing wrong with that, but they blame everyone other than themselves. You have bankers in your sponsors, like Bank of India, one of the finest bankers. I've discussed or addressed many a times the bankers, and they're always right. Their job is to fund the project, and they try to monitor But most of it, they believe the entrepreneur thinks that he has this project, he has a business plan, and he will do that, and as long as he has the ability to pay the interest and the principal, they are comfortable with that. Whereas the CS role will be much more than that. While writing a project report, you need to do the in-depth analysis of what you are raising the money for, and when the money is used only for that purpose. Is there any deviation? It is not acceptable. Is there any DSCR? Not for the purpose of 1.65 times you have put there, but really is there money to pay interest and principal on time? Because both interest and principal, if you don't pay on time, then you know that it will go towards the root of NPA. It is not good to raise the money thereafter. So, point is, where are we today in MSME? I said that probably there are outliers. The top of the pyramid in MSME is doing extremely well. They don't need any support. Bottom of the pyramid are really suffering. They need all the care. There's support from the government, support from the banks, or support from the consulting agency, or support from everyone they need. And the mid segment, what we have, the middle of the pyramid, what we have is that our wish is that they move towards the top of the pyramid and they don't get into the bottom of the pyramid. So where the CS can play very, very prominent role. Coming to the strategies, today's problem, as I stated, there's capital. We have many types of capital getting into the company. It can be the capital, it could be private equity, it could be shares, it could be preferred shares, it could be debentures, it could be convertibles, it could be compulsory convertibles, it could be non-convertibles, it is a mid coupon, it is front-ended, back-ended. There are hundreds of instruments where we can raise the money, including the commercial paper. But very rarely, MSMEs understand the difference between any of these. That should be guided by the chartered accountant. And you need to know that the most expensive route of raising the money is raising the capital. That's the most expensive in the private equity space. When your business is doing extremely well, that becomes very expensive. Whether you want to take it or not is a promoter's cost and your guidance. But when you are not doing well, that becomes the most risky, and that becomes, I would say, the risk capital is always expensive if you're successful. If not, they will pay along with you for the losses because they become your partners. So I'm not suggesting that you should go to the private equity when you're not doing well, because when you're not doing well, you'll not be able to raise the private equity. When you're doing extremely well, then you should know that is the time to take the term loan, or you should take the preference capital, or the equity capital, or the convertible. That is something which you need to talk to the people from time to time in MSME segment. I don't know if the various CAs will get into that depth of their clients, from guys to an enterprise. Please advise them from time to time on the knowledge what you have, or what to gather, what to read, what to observe, what you read in the newspaper, what you read in your newsletters. Please explain to them from time to time. Please raise the money when they don't need the money. When they really need the money, they don't get the money. All of your experience, and that is the norm all over probably the world. When you don't need the money, you get the money. When you really need the money, it is very expensive to get the money at that point in time. And money is very, very important. Capital is very, very important to do some technology. I think that standards and data and balance sheet, everybody uses the technology. But you need to have the technology software to manage the information system. And for that, you need to have a technology person. Whether it's the medium industry or the large industry, you need to have the technology in place. Talent is the one which I always admire of the company who do very well, because at the end of the day, it is the people, and the people make the difference. People build the company, people run the company, people grow the company, and people also sometimes demolish the company. And having the right kind of a people to do the right kind of a job at all the time is possibility. But at the same time, you need to have the people who will deliver your objectives from time to time. Why I'm saying so? is that as the business grows, the knowledge of the person, unless it is growing in line or the same speed, the same growth of that of the knowledge available in the marketplace, somewhere there is a mismatch. An accountant of 80s or 90s or 2000 today may not get that relevant because new technology is available in the accounting and reporting formats. Ethics thing, he has to upgrade his knowledge. This is a chartered accountant, this is an accountant, this is an auditor, but they need to upgrade and from that. And to understand the technology is very important, talent is very important, and finally the manufacturing and the distribution. Any business you are, whether you are in a product or in a service, there's something called manufacturing. But how much time, how many times you have used that in our profession, I do not know. But I'm a big fan of the word that we HR. We need to have that program evaluation all the time for your clients, and you have to say that how your productivity is, how their efficiency is improving. We have written 10 marks, 50 marks on the machine hour rate, and do we really know what the machine hour rate, what it's paying for? We work day in and day out with overheads, direct, indirect, fixed, variable. So all these efficiencies, if you have to bring into the company of your client, then it makes that much more easier for him to run on the one shift, or one half shift, or two shifts, or with OT or without OT. So in production, you need to be extraordinarily brilliant in getting the gross margin right. To get the gross margin right, you need to be sitting in the factory trying to understand everything is required, the production-related expenses that is required or not, and how do we bring in the efficiency there. Friends, if you are able to get 5% efficiency, it's not a big deal in any medium and large industries. 5% gross margin will be almost, I would say, about 20% of the net profit will enhance if you are able to get 5% gross margin improvement. And that can be done by getting the efficiency in labor, efficiency in machines, and efficiency in power, efficient people to say that where do we go, how do we go, why should we go, and how much to do, and how much not to do. All this will come from data analytics. Without data analytics, you will be not able to deliver or you're not able to achieve your objective, what you have stated in the beginning, that okay, this is what I intend doing in the quarter, or the month, or the week. And the reporting system today, all of us will work on a weekly reporting system, which initially used to be yearly, then became half yearly, then became quarterly, and monthly. Now most of the companies work on 52-weekly reporting system in that way. If any lag, you make up in the coming week, not in the coming month or the coming quarter. So this will help you to generate the data mines on a day-to-day basis, and probably then you can go on. Nowadays, most of the management team of your MSMEs will be very hardworking, very loyal, and have been here for a long time, but their knowledge has to be upgraded. Please conduct workshops for them from time to time. Please get the expert to talk to them from time to time. They don't have to go for a 2-year program elsewhere. You can always have probably 4-hour workshop every month for a year. I think most of the things can be what is required for them, it can be done. And do not ignore the knowledge deficit of management team, because at the end of the day, they need to take the company to the next level. And most MSMEs are family managed businesses, wherein the family will get involved in the management and family will take the big decisions in the business way forward. Most of the successful family managed businesses in the past, they think that everything will happen as per their wish, and they try to go the way how they've done in the past, but that may not be true in the today's disruptive world. What is the disruptive? Well, disruption is happening in the marketplace, especially for small and medium enterprises. The disruption is from both the ways. One, there are startups who are come to the marketplace, who are come with a disruptive technology, disruptive business model, which affects your business. Whether it's a restaurant business, whether it's a travel business, or the transportation business, whether it's entertainment business, you call it, there are many, many good startups in those areas. What is the startup that do? They bring in the disruption. What is disruption? Disruption is any product or service is better, it is cheaper, it is faster, it is convenient, it is scalable, using the technology is called the disruptive business model. And when they bring in, the consumer feels that I'm getting a better product at a cheaper price, a better service at a cheaper price, and it's available at my doorstep, and I can just use my app or mobile phone to get it ordered and I pay on delivery. So it is very, very different model when you compare to the model what you have, where somebody has to come to you and place the order and take it and go back. So this is happening at B2B place, it is happening at the D2B place, it's happening in D2C place, and it's happening in general trade, it's happening in modern trade, it's happening in everywhere trade and commerce is there, this disruption is happening one by one, one by one, one by one. So where do they get the business from? They get the business from vulnerable sections like MSMEs, when they cannot understand. Most of the time, in a small restaurant, they see that the business is not good. They think that, oh, these days people are not spending the money in the restaurant. They don't know that people are ordering from the cloud kitchen without their knowledge. It's the food is going and getting to their home. And you think, oh, these days corporates are not spending the money in the restaurant. But they don't know that they placed the order and the food has gone to the corporate directly and they're getting a cheaper price in a faster way. So this is where the disruption from the startup which affects the MSMEs, undoubtedly, because it is the same business pie which they need to take it out of. The second one is the grown-ups. Grown-ups are the people who are leaders in the marketplace. They have the cost advantage, they have the unit economics, and they also have the advantage to scale up the way how they have because they have capital, they have market access, they have the technology, and whatever I said, what MSMEs don't have. When I say don't have, not all, but most of them don't have whatever I said. But the grown-ups are the people who are being in the business and doing extremely well in our industry. They have all those things. They're able to see in which market we are strong, which market we are not strong, and why, and what do we do about it. So naturally, they will also take the portion of the opportunities. Then comes the multinationals who are looking at India in a big way, because India is a consumption story for the last 15 years and probably next 25 years. India is a consumption story. When India is a consumption story, the whole world will look at India. Then, and nobody wants to miss this pass. So when they come here, where do they get their business from?
I wish you happy learning. Kindly don't
They fight with the larger corporations, but at the same time they fight with the startups and they also work with start competing with the MSMEs. So to that extent, you need to be extra careful in guiding your MSMEs. This is what's happening in your area. This is what's happening in your category. This is what's happening in your industry. This is the market share movement that's happening. And please be aware of that. MSMEs have gone through tough times during demonetization. It was not an easy transition for them in demonetization time, and all of us we are aware of that. And some of the MSMEs have closed down during demonetization, but whoever has survived, I call it as the real survivors in MSMEs. Post that, the GST implementation was one other big disruption happened in that business. And many of us have seen that happening. And GST for the first time, whether it is an MSME, whether it is a large enterprise, whether it is a chartered accountant, whether it is an auditor, whether it is a tax consultant, all of us we have seen for the first time what GST is. And most of the times, the MSMEs had to undergo the trouble of implementing the GST, spending the money on the technology and the talent and the expert. Post that. And yes, many have survived in GST thanks to our chartered accountant friends. They have made it happen for their clients very, very conveniently. And India's GST implementation is a case study of work. And many are following that. Then after COVID came, again the MSME got affected because they always work with month to month cash flow. And if the business is not there for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, it's very, very difficult to manage the cash flow. And yes, whatever the support the central government gave, the state government gave, and the banks gave, they gave, but it is not sufficient to do a big turnaround. And those who survived the COVID, now they are the big winners. And now they are facing the startup disruption, and also the grown-ups competition. And in this hour, this year of time of the challenges, the CS role in the business will become all the more important. So what is that the CS can do? Please understand their horoscope. When I say their kundli, what is their business, what is their business goal, what is the capital required, what is the marketing support required, what is the technology required, and where do I get the capital for them? And please guide them, advise them, give your views, and try to take up a bigger role in their organization because of the interest that country needs them, and they are the people who create the job, so we need to support them. And have all the compliances in place, whether the tax-related compliance, tax-related compliance, HR-related compliance, have all the compliance in place, and help them to manage their cash flow from cash to cash. They need to know that they need to get the money within 30 days if they want to have a working capital limit of 30 days to ensure that the cash to cash cycle is in place. Work with their bankers very closely and help them to get the right kind of working capital, the right kind of the term loan, and do not take more loan than what is required. At the same time, take sufficient loan what is required. Try to have a debt equity ratio in place, and at the same time try to have an equity. It can come on a long-term basis with the private equity or venture capital. Please explore that. You need the money to take the risk, and risk money is always equity. You need to grow organic, you need to grow inorganic. Help them to grow inorganic while they grow organic. And you need to have the depth in the business, and you need to have the width of the business. The width is you need to be expanding geographically. The depth is that you need to have more business in the same place by taking higher market share in the area which you are operating. For that, you need to have management team. Hiring a management team is not easy, but you need to have that talent to work with you. And hard work, loyalty, not necessarily the talent. It is one of the talents, but not necessarily that he has every talent what is required. So you need to scout for competencies, you need to scout for commitments, and you need to scout for good people who have a great character. The character is very important when you are recruiting the people. And you need to know how to recruit the people, you need to help them how to retain the people. The talented people will leave first the organization because they do not tolerate nonsense. So they leave first. You might say that, okay, he's greedy, he's unreasonable, he said he'll do this, he'll do that, but he didn't do anything, he just left and went. But if you frankly ask him, the reason why he has left is that he did not see any systems or procedures, and he just say that, no, I can't work at that. They're not professionals is what he says. A professional doesn't mean that he has to be an MBA or he has to be a data collector or something secretary. It's just that he should work professionally. Means he knows what he's supposed to do and deliver what he commits, and for that we need to provide the resources. So with that, I take the questions if you have, and please help our small and medium enterprises to come up in their life, and if their family managed business, conduct workshop for them from time to time, and guide them. We need them more than they need us. We need them, country needs them, and they are the job leaders. And my heart goes out for them in whichever the way I can contribute for their health. More than happy to be coming there, conducting a workshop for your client, and ask no cost to come. I'll come on my own, I'll come back on my own, don't worry, get me a lunch, and I can make a workshop for your client, one-day workshop. We can talk all these things to them, along with the bankers, and bankers are very, very important, and don't miss on that. And bankers there to lend the money, recover the money, lend the money, recover the money, and in nation building, their role of bankers' role, and I'm very fond of them always. Their role is extraordinary, and they're built in the past and they're built in the future, and we need to be with them and help them to lend properly, with the proper rate of interest, proper terms and conditions, and help the bank and help the MSMEs to grow the business profitably and pay the taxes on time, every time. Thank you so much.
That was a great startup of the day. Thank you so much for the enlightenment, sir.
As said, now we have a question for you guys. How much approximate percentage of contribution is done by the MSME sector towards the GDP of India?
Please. Don't throw the numbers, please. One number will hit the pot. Anybody? What is the contribution of MSMEs to the GDP? No. We will reach there shortly.
Komal, excuse me, do we have any questions for sir? Any questions?
More than 20, less than 30, this is not the answer.
Hi sir, my name is Prasad. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sir, you said the strategic growth of the MSMEs are very important at this point of time. We need the proper tools for those things, and the technology is also very important for the same. So what are those things which we can apply in this type of growth actually? The tools which we can use to have the proper growth.
Technology today does most of the intelligent thinking and working. And technology, when I mean, it is a technology not just for accounting purpose, not for just reporting purpose, technology for everything, right from movement of the goods, movement of services, movement of people, movement of everything, till from there, till generating the forecast for your business for short term, medium term, and long term based on the variables what you put in. Like for example, in an airline industry, they will understand the way how the customers are coming, customers are booking the flights, and they will be able to increase the price, reduce the price, and they call it as a dynamic pricing. And that is done by software, not by the human there. It's not done by marketing people, it's done by the software. So what it takes to use the technology is that everything where robotics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and wherever you can use that, please use that. We need to have somebody to help, consultant, saying that in this business, what are the technology you think that we can adopt? Like in consumer goods, I can say that even the order taking at a retail outlet or a wholesale outlet, it is done by the mobile phone, and once it is done on the mobile phone, it takes over everything. In other words, it aggregates the order, it gives the order to the distributor, from there it goes to the depot, from there it goes to CNF, and on all-India basis, a company which is having 2,000 employees, on a real-time basis, we'll be able to capture the data of the order, product-wise, region-wise, SKU-wise, and state-wise, and the season-wise, everything we can make out. So, to that extent, technology will help you. And if you say that we don't have a technology, we work on a spreadsheet, then your understanding of the technology is limited, and you always try to feed in the figures and to get the analytics out of that. No. You need to get the raw data into a business model, and from there, that model should be able to give you to the software what we have, the data, what is output data, what is required to run the business. And order can be bottom up, order can be top down, the sales approach can be top down or bottom up. But then how do we manage the working capital is based on the forecast. How do you forecast? It's based on the last 3 years data, last 3 months data, last 3 weeks data. You can forecast the sales for the next 3 weeks, next 6 weeks, next 6 months, next 1 year. So based on that, you place the order for your working capital, especially for the raw material. Then how long it will keep the original, what should be the working progress, all this is comes with the data so that the human intervention is better as much as possible. It should be reduced so that your efficiency in production, sales, distribution, supply chain will improve drastically. That's what I meant by technology.
Namaste, Ulasji. Hi, this is Deepak Jain from Shimoga. With regard to, you said the character is more important and people tend to move out of the system where they find that system is not right. My question is, how can a new fresh chartered accountant can build up a system that can go from 2 crores to 2000 crores like
Very good question. For me, HR is a very, very important area for startup firms to look at. Even though it's not our core competence, but without people, you cannot do anything. My answer to the question is that you always recruit the people for their competency, because that can be explained about the competency, that can be explained by this is my experience, this is what I've done, this is where all I've done the past, and first in class, second in class. Competencies can always be discussed during the time of interview, and we'll make sure that, okay, he has the right competence to join the company. The second is his commitment to the organization. You will see over a period of time, it could be a month or 2, 3, or maximum 1 year, you will see the commitment of hers to the organization, not to the self. People who have commitment for the self, they move from place to place, because for them, their self growth is more important than the organization growth. So you need to identify whether he has a commitment to the organization, whether he takes the responsibility, whether he takes the responsibility to deliver, whether he feels good when he delivers, he feels sad when he don't deliver. So you will be able to see the commitment to an organization within the first 3 to 6 months' time. And then in the course of working with him, you know how good his character is. Character, basic character is that one should not tell lies, one should not hide truth, and one should be building an enterprise and part of the member. And wherever he can add value, he should add value. And he should be physically fit, he should be mentally fit, he should be spiritually fit. That's what I call it as a character, as a good character. You can see any companies who have grown super fast, grown more than the average in the industry. Everywhere you see the leadership was very, very high competence, they have high commitment to the organization, and the character is 24/7, 24 karat gold. And that character, he is a man of word. The character is that he says what he does, and he works with employees, he works like a member, he works like a leader. And the character is that for him, work is life, life is work. For him, the character is the entire employees of the company are then part of his family. So to that extent, his commitment will be able to see the organization through his character. So keep an eye on that. Just the competence, this competence, and you will not get that right people. Even if you get it just short term. But the people with high commitment to the organization, no sir, in my company, I will build it. Give me the responsibility, I will deliver it. People who take the decision without, without much time, but they say, okay, I'm sure about it, leave it to me. They're all committed people. And finally, the great character, you'll be able to see it when they're working with you. And this is where it comes from. You need to hire the right talent, and you need to retain the talent always. So retention of the talent is also a challenge. And in this context, I was telling you that you need to have that heart to retain the talented people in an organization by paying them well. When you say pay them well, you should be better than the industry. Always pay well to your employees, they will give back. And pay to the people who will deliver. Non-performers, no space in any organization. Performers have to be taken care of all the time. Because at the end of the day, everyone is a human being. We understand what is value. And if that is not value, then somewhere we find an alternative opportunity. So there's a bunch of few things put together and take care of them. And take care of them as if he is you, then naturally take care of them back. Hope I answered your question. Basar and all the people are sitting there.
So 1 minute.
Any questions?
Sir, good morning, sir. My name is Deepak. I'm assistant professor in management. As the topic was all about competitiveness in MSME, sir, don't you think there should be a close interface between MSME and colleges and institutes? Because colleges or institutes, that is, if, I think there's lack of awareness of MSME in colleges. So more of MSME awareness can bring a lot of entrepreneurs in future. That is what my question is.
Very good observation, and I always advocate for collaboration with industry, academia, and research institutes. They need to collaborate. When you collaborate, the outcome will be much, much better. That is, industry, academia, and research, experts, everything can be together. The problem is nobody has the time, especially MSMEs don't have the time. I don't know what they do in their life, frankly, but they don't have the time to study. They have time to talk. They have time to complain. They have time to go and wait in government departments. They have the time to wait everywhere, but they don't have the time to study. And they think that it is not that useful, the studying part. So, where institutions can help, academicians, institutions can only do the postmortem. They give you a forecast model, but they're not business people. Experts are business people. So if your client thinks, or you think that 10 of your clients need to have an arrangement or need to have an understanding, say on working capital management or supply chain management, go to the nearest college, see if the professors are ready, elections are ready, and give them Saturday, Sunday, 1 month program. It's the first time somebody will see in business that how their data is been analyzed by educational institution, and it is like a diagnostic center. So you get all the data, whether it's a asset test ratio, whether it is the working capital ratio, whether it is current asset ratio, whether it is a cash to cash number of days, whether it is a debt receivable number of days, whether you are working on a positive working capital for how many days of your days, whether you are working on a negative working capital, what are you doing with that? Are you buying for cash or buying for credit? Difference between buying for 30 days, 45 days, whether it's 1.5% difference or 2.5% difference, whether your stock is valued at cost or realizable value, whichever is lower, frankly, whatever stock they give, most of the charters will take that as a number, because who has the time to go and check on every quarter or every 6 months at the end of the year? Because all these MSMEs come for the audit in the last minute, and we know our CF friends how they struggle. Last 3 days of filing of the returns, hoping that there will be an extension. And hope has never went away from our CAs, hoping that there will be some extension for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. But we always come last minute. I tell in some of the CA conferences, I tell them saying that you put a timeline. Why do you want to wait for the timeline of the government of India? You put a timeline to your client and you say, okay, if you don't come, then I'll not audit it. But it's easier said than done, because you need a client, they need the auditor. But my request to you is that any good management institute of your area, hold the workshops on weekends for your clients. You'll be doing enormous service to the industry, to the education institution, and you'll be able to see what theory can convert into practice and what practice can be actually seen from the theory point of view. Oh, this is where we have gone wrong. Or this is where our analysis was wrong. And this is where the budget with the actuals, the standard costing and actual costing, the variance, what you have for 10 marks question in costing, it should be converted into 100 crore of business. That is only when you get into your SMEs, MSMEs, tell them saying that what is your standard cost, what's your actual cost, where is the variance gone, and where is plus, where is minus, why, what. then you become a businessman more and less of a chartered accountant. It's good to have a businessman in you to talk to your client rather than a chartered accountant talking to your client. It will help him to get more comfort from you.
Any other question? We thank you on behalf of all the effective listeners. Thank you so much, sir, for your effective deliberation.
Next time I'm Ballari, Hosapete, workshop free ಆಗಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕೂರಿಸಿ ನಾನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಸವೇಶ್ವರ ಖಾನಾವಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸಾಕು.
I request all of you to give him a standing ovation. Get the answer now. You might have Googled it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.